Welcome back to r/Neighbors from Hell, where people share stories about their crazy neighbors. And if you are new to my channel, please don't forget to subscribe to join our amazing community. And without any further ado, let's dive right into the stories. And guys, just so you know how much I love you, I will take 1 or 2 hours off to record this video, and I won't be able to look at the presidential elections live coverage while doing so. That is how much you mean to me. Anyway, the first one is titled, "Today I screwed up by entering in a war with my dad's neighbor and getting the cops called on me." So, Saturday morning I was helping my dad chopping some wood, something he regularly does, and when I don't have nothing planned for the weekends, I drop by and give him a hand. He has some land close to his house where we were chopping the wood. Between that land and my parents' house happens to be their neighbor residence that also has quite a bit of land around it, more like a farm where he has a lot of fruit trees, horses, etc. He is a wealthy, very old guy. After we are done with the wood, I was contemplating a huge cherry tree full of red and likely delicious cherries that, while inside the neighbor's property, were accessible from the road. My dad noticed and said, "Completely full of cherries, huh? Don't even think about it. That old guy complains about everything. Don't give him an excuse to be himself." My dad was still gathering some stuff, so I told him I would meet him at his place and I would go in front to chat a bit with my mom before we have lunch. Using that road, I spot the old guy at his land between his horses while I am passing by the cherry tree. Well, since he is seeing me, there's no harm in just pick one cherry. It will be pretty much in front of the guy. I am just having one out of curiosity. I am not hiding and stealing. Should be harmless despite how allegedly annoying this guy is. So I picked one, ate it, and was in fact delicious. Yeah, no, it wasn't harmless. I got a call and I stopped in the middle of the road to answer it, so I took some time from reaching my parents' house despite being something like a 2-minute walk. I ended the conversation and proceeded my journey. When I was walking by the entrance of the old man's farm, he was there looking angry at me and signals me with his hand for me to approach. You gotta be kidding me, I thought. I'm not going to write the dialogue back and forth because this post will already be very long, but he very loudly accuses me of stealing. The people living close by could clearly hear this idiot shouting that I wasn't respectful towards other people's property. At first I really tried to defuse the situation, since despite how ludicrous the situation might be, I was the one who took something that wasn't mine, so I apologized a couple of times. But he went on, and when he started to get verbally aggressive, asking me if I was mentally dumb or just a thief, I kinda lost my composure a little bit and asked him how sad and little he had to be for doing this scene over a damn cherry.
"It's the principle of it. I had enough of you when you and your friends stole fruit from me as kids."
This was false. I assume that to him kids are all the same, and probably a lot of kids stole his cherries, apples, oranges, etc. But despite me being a brat as a kid, and I have indeed done my share of bad stuff in my days, I have never messed with this guy or his stuff before, mainly because it was my neighbor at the time, so it would immediately lead to me being grounded by proxy. In fact, I think I have spoken with this idiot like twice before this encounter, many years ago when I still lived there. I told him he was senile, that I never took something from him before, and sarcastically asked if he could ever forgive me for the valuable cherry I took from him. As I was moving away from him, I kept hearing him barking some stuff which I assumed it were insults. I spoke a bit with my mom while we waited for my dad, which was taking longer than we expected. When he finally arrived, his first words were, "You just had to do it. I effing told you not to mess with that crazy old man, but you just couldn't resist." Basically, my dad took the same road as me and the old man was also waiting for him, complaining about the situation and also getting verbally abusive towards my dad concerning the way I was raised. So my dad, while also considering the situation the most ridiculous thing ever, still gives me a hard time for being an idiot. This upsets me for the rest of the day. How can someone be so, well, so like this? When I arrived home, my fiancé was leaving for the rest of the afternoon, so it didn't help that I was going to spend the afternoon alone, having time keep focusing on the situation, and turned on the PC to play a game, but I couldn't just shake the situation out of my head. And this is where things start going downhill. I grab my keys, get into my car and drive to the closest supermarket. I then buy a bag with 1 kilogram of cherries and one of those gift ribbons, not sure if this is the word. Taped to the bag is a postal card saying something that can roughly be translated to English. Hope this gift can help you recover from your illness. Sincerely, your favorite thief. Yes, I know, this was childish, but what do you want from me? I then drive to my dad's village, go to the cherry tree with the bag, figuring my way of planting the bag without being spotted, but I couldn't just throw the bag over because he might miss it. The wall limiting his land was very short on one of the sides close to the tree and I saw no one, so I just easily jumped over. I was about to hang the bag in one of the branches when he appears out of nowhere asking me what the F I was doing there. I smiled and said, "I come offering reparations for my errors." He looks at the bag and probably saw immediately that I was doing some kind of joke and also replies with a smile,
"Do you understand that you are trespassing into my property, don't you?"
He then does a very loud whistle and shouts for Pongo and another name I couldn't figure out. I immediately knew what was going to happen and I was right. Dogs. Now, I'm not going to lie to you and try to make this story more scary than it was. It were not Rottweilers or German Shepherds or anything like that. It were 2 black Labradors, very fat and actually cute. They took a while to show up, which made the whole situation a little awkward, since none of us spoke a word until they arrived. We just stood there looking at each other. But when they arrived, despite if they had or hadn't intention to bite me, when they saw me they immediately started to bark towards me. They didn't run, but they were coming close. Taking no chances, I started to run towards the short wall I came into and jumped over, not even realizing if I was being chased or not, but I could hear the old man laughing behind me. I proceeded to my car and realized I never planted the bag and I was still holding it. Another major fail. I go home and stay there for the rest of the afternoon, grumpy in my couch feeling stupid. Close to dinner time, my girlfriend calls me saying there were cops at the door asking if I lived there and if they could speak with me. Is this really happening? I thought. I then go out to meet 2 agents who told me Mr. Neighbor had called the cops because someone trespassed and damaged his wall. They went to his house, listened to the story, but saw no damage whatsoever on the wall. The old man explained them who I was, but didn't know my current address, but pointed out that my parents lived next door and they would know. My parents were not at home, but another neighbor who is friends with my folks happens to know where I live and kindly told the officers. One of them was actually quite friendly and listened to my whole story. Since me picking the cherry until my escape from the dogs, I could tell one of them was clearly making an effort for not to laugh. They then point out it was actually lucky that the other neighbor could tell them where I lived so they could talk with me right away personally and dismiss it as actual occurrence instead of me getting a formal notification to present myself to the police station. They tell me that this situation will most likely end there. There was no damage on the wall and this guy is known for calling the police over everything and they try to ignore it as much as they legally can. They will contact my dad's neighbor telling him I was reprehended and warned to respect other people's property and it will hopefully suffice. But still warn me that if the next days I get a notification on the mail to present myself on the station, it means that he decided to follow through with the charges when they are about to leave, and this is the most humiliating part. One of the officers say, "Man, how old are you?" Which I replied, 29. And while shaking his head he leaves, not controlling his laugh this time. And I gotta say guys, this is one of my favorite Neighbors from Hell stories we have read so far. Please let me know in the comments how you liked it. And by the way, I would love to know, have you ever had any grumpy old neighbors who are literally impossible to deal with? Let us know in the comments. And the next one is titled Childish Neighbor Loses Her Entitled Mind. For background, my cul-de-sac has a group chat mostly run by EB. And EB in this case stands for Entitled BITCH Neighbor. I used to try to get along with her, but after the events of my last post and the snow settling in my area, I have taken a step back from the women on my street. Even so, EB rubs me the wrong way every time she opens her mouth. Over the last few weeks, there's been a few incidents. One neighbor baked cookies for everyone. EB messaged the group chat, "Next time make them softer." I responded, "I'm sure they were delicious. Wish I was home to try them." Her Halloween decorations are incredibly loud and screechy, they run very late into the night, and my husband gets up for work at 4, so I messaged the group chat, "Hey EB, your decorations look awesome, but they are pretty loud. Any way you could turn them down or shut them off before you go to bed?" Her response,
"No, they're on a timer and I like them. My Christmas ones are louder."
I did not respond, but I was pretty pissed. We have another neighbor, G, going through a messy divorce. His ex has been erratic and unstable, breaking and entering, driving drunk, attempted kidnapping of their children, and heavy drug use. EB's favorite topic of gossip is this woman, and it hurts G. Every time his ex gets brought up, he is asked for privacy a couple times, but regardless, EB always mentions her, and today I had enough. G and another neighbor were meeting up for school pickup and talking about it on the group chat when EB pops up.
"Good thing you're there, because your crazy wife is in the doctor's office. Wonder what drugs she's looking for."
EB's daughter piped up, "What? What a stupid woman! The drama!" Her daughter is 22 and lives somewhere else, don't know why she's in the group chat. So I said, "So she exists outside our neighborhood, who cares?" EB's daughter says, "What the F, EB?
"There's no need to be rude."
Me, not trying to be rude, I guess I'm just tired of the gossip.
"Then leave the group."
What a great suggestion, and I left the group. A little while later, I am sitting outside smoking when G comes over and asks what happened and why I left the group. I told him I was tired of his personal life being used for EB's entertainment, that I was sorry I spoke on his behalf, but that I felt he was entitled to the privacy he had been asking for, and that it was not EB's place to keep gossiping about him. He thanked me for saying something. He sat and had a smoke with me while we laughed about how rude EB had been about the decorations. EB throws herself outside, immediately pointing her fingers at us, screaming that I am a BITCH and I am a rude, negligent mother, etc. G got up and walked over, trying to calm her down, and I said calmly that I was in no way trying to start a fight, that I wasn't mad, and we could both just agree to not be friends. G, stop acting like you're better than all of us. Why are you screaming? We haven't done anything. EB still pointing at me.
"I am better than her. I'm effing better than her."
She finally looks at me and starts screaming that I leave my children alone and do drugs and I'm a horrible mom. I just laughed. I've never left my kids alone. I sometimes sit and smoke with my other neighbor, but my children are always safe and asleep, and I always have my baby monitor. I am literally outside next door. I smoke weed, but I have a prescription. I don't do it when my kids are up, and it is legal here. I stood up and shouted, "Get off your broomstick! Have a great day, EB!" Then waved and went in my house. I could hear her and G shouting at each other about me for a few minutes, EB flapping her arms up and down, jumping up and down and stomping her feet. G got emotional and went inside. Then EB came back out with a pair of scissors and cut apart a motion sensor ghost decoration I had lent her for a Halloween tree she had set up. It was a $40 decoration that I put up for the kids to enjoy, and she cut it to pieces. I haven't said anything further, but I cannot believe her. And neighbors like these can really ruin your holidays. Have any of your neighbors ever ruined any holidays? Let us know in the comments, and while you're at it, please don't forget to like the video if you enjoy my content, because this helps my channel tremendously. And the next one is titled, "Am I the Jerk? Suing my neighbor after she sprayed weedicide on my lawn." I caught my neighbor spraying weedicide on my lawn in my fenced-in backyard because she said
she was sick of all the weeds
and thought she was doing me a solid. I like dandelions, they are good for the bees. I have pet rabbits, dogs, cats and a tortoise. I like to roam the yard and all of them eat or at least nibble and lick the grass, so it is literally poisoning my pets. So anyway, I kick her the F out and take all my pets inside. Now 2 of my rabbits are dead and another is in critical condition. I will never be able to let my pets outside again to eat the grass because weedicide takes forever to go away because it can sit in the soil for who knows how long, and I am worried that the dogs and cats might end up having a reaction too, since they also nibble the grass. Call me overprotective or overcautious, I don't care, I love my animals. So I am suing her for damage to my property because it is now unusable for my animals, veterinary bills and emotional damage due to the death of my 2 rabbits. I am also trying to get the cops to pursue a case of animal abuse or at minimum criminal damage because she did basically poison my animals, but I doubt anything will come from it because I have to prove ill intent, but they are pursuing her for criminal trespass. She is a Karen. I think she deserves it for thinking she had any right to be on my property at all, and especially because it has killed my pets and now I don't know what to do about my lawn because I am not risking another animal's life by letting them out, at least unsupervised for at least a year. However, my parents and my girlfriend think I am being unnecessarily cruel because
it was an accident and she thought she was just being a good neighbor, and that I'm making it to be a bigger deal than it is.
And should just ask for her to pay my vet bills. Edit info, she has asked me about the weeds before, I don't remember it verbatim, but basically the conversation was along the lines of her.
Hey, I see you have a lot of dandelions/weeds, have you noticed that too?
Me, yep, I enjoy the look of a natural lawn. Her, something about my new car. The end. Since she has a kid that she always asks can come over to play with my rabbits, I assumed she knew they ate them. If she was looking over my fence that often, she would notice the dandelions were only ever flowering in 1/4 of the lawn at a time because my rabbits got cycled in a way that most of the lawn was mostly weed free while the part they couldn't get to that week would be sprouting. Edit again, thanks for the messages guys, I'm taking the advice and getting a security camera and a padlock for the fence, also I am in fact getting a necropsy done. Edit, I have talked to her, told her that my rabbits died after the fact and there was staining on their pen. She said,
it is weedicide, not pesticide, they were probably just sick.
Edit again, last edit, this is blowing up too much, I gotta walk away, sorry if I didn't answer your questions, but my rabbits were actually outside when she did this and there was a stain on their pen. I cannot prove it, but I'm pretty sure they got a direct spray. Update, I got a call from my vet Monday morning, the necropsy is back. My rabbits died from corrosion to several internal organs and had corrosive burns lining their mouth and nose. My 3rd rabbit can also come home today and only has minor injuries to his throats and a small injury resulting in superficial hair loss and mild irritation on his nose. He will be on pain meds and just in case I have critical care ready. For those without rabbits, when rabbits are in pain and sometimes in mourning, they sometimes refuse to eat, so critical care is basically a mixed powder you can syringe feed to keep their digestive system functioning because GI stasis can be life-threatening. Also, I have contacted a lawyer to move forward with a lawsuit, but they haven't responded, probably won't until later today because I contacted them yesterday through mail. And for the lawn and garden people from my last post, the vet thinks the stuff the neighbor used was not a commercial herbicide because of those chemical burns as well as because it killed my crabapple tree and the bit near my fence and pool are bare. And guys, I'm not really sure if there's anything to argue in this thread. Obviously, OP is not the a-hole for suing this awful neighbor, but I'm curious, what do you think about this story? And if this happened to your animals, what would you have done? Let us know in the comments. And guys, unfortunately, we have already reached the end of the video. I hope you enjoyed today's stories, and if you haven't already, please also go to patreon.com/ripeyoutube, where I upload exclusive Reddit videos starting at just $3 a month. This is a great way to support me in case you are interested, and the chance for me to become independent from YouTube revenue. Thank you so much for watching, please don't forget to subscribe and like the video, and I hope to see you again tomorrow.